atmosphere of Tucker Silk Mill. Let's see, comforting, cozy, healthy. My name's Jason Hoy. I am an Aussie in Easton, Pennsylvania. So Easton because it's in between New York and Emmaus, and because Easton's a cool town. We went exploring, found it, loved it. I think restaurants tends to be just a reflection of what's happening in Easton in regards to more people moving in, gentrification of downtown, more apartments like the Silk Mill where we are. So there's places to live that are quite nice. The rent is a third or a half of what you'd pay in New York. So there's a lot of commuters that are commuting to either Jersey or New York because it's a great place to live. So which means a good thing for restaurants as well. It means that we'll have more customers and hopefully we'll succeed. My business began about 20 years ago. I've been running fine wine stores for most of my life with the aim of setting up a wine bar. So we're looking for a space to do that. So this place in 6 months' time hopefully will be a wine bar in the evenings. But we also miss really good coffee and healthy food, and there was nowhere in Easton for us to get a salad on a Tuesday, just pizzas and burgers, and that's about it. So we want to eat the food that we enjoy and share that with people that have a more health conscious side of things. So that's why we've opened up this cafe as well. Ingredients we source locally, sustainably, ethically, and organically, to be, I guess, complete about that. We source them from a place called Lancaster Farm Fresh, is one of our main suppliers, because they work with individual sort of farms in Pennsylvania and in the area, and we can choose to have all organic food. We also work with local producers. We will build a relationship so we know where that stuff comes from. Our coffee comes from Toby's Estate in Brooklyn, which is a connection with some Australians that started roasting. They're, again, single origin, fantastic quality beans, rather than just dark roast that we're going to sort of put through a mill. We treat it really carefully. Saying that it's more special than somewhere else in Easton, that's a dangerous path to tread, but I think what differentiates us is that we're not a typical USA model of service. So we believe that we're friends with our customers, that it's not a in your face, is everything okay here kind of attitude. It's more of a hi, like we're really glad to see you. Our staff are all partners in the business, so they're getting paid a minimum of $15 an hour, and several of them are on a profit share as well. So when we get to certain goals, then they actually have equity in the business, that we can help them seed businesses in the future as well. So it's about ownership and involvement that gives everyone a drive to take ownership and look after customers when they come in. Well, we mentioned the wine bar as something to do in the evenings. So future plans are obviously we now gear up for spring and summer. We'll have tables all the way down the side of this beautiful building. So we'll double our capacity in the spring and summer months, and hopefully into fall. So our plans are to get our kitchen working overtime, increase our menu, make sure that there's sort of more seasonal menu items as that happens as well, but we'll adapt and we'll change, and we'll always add and subtract things to the menu to make sure that we're timely and interesting. Things that I would like to add to my menu, which we will be adding, so we're going to be adding obviously soft-boiled eggs, which we call egg soldiers, where you dip in toast. I think you might call them dippers here, but so soft-boiled eggs that you can dip toast into, but rather than just plain toast, we'll be doing things like Vegemite dippers or asparagus spears with prosciutto that have been roasted, and then dip those in your eggs. So that's one breakfast thing that we'll be adding. There's going to be a bunch more. Same with lunches and cakes. We'll always be adding bits and pieces, but we'll add some more. We've added toasties this week. We've added some really beautiful soups, but we'll aim to keep adding and make sure that it's always different when you come in. I hope that this cafe has an effect on Easton's community in the sense of quality coffee and how they feel about coffee when they drink it, rather than nursing a cup of coffee that's been drowned in powdered white sugar and cream to mask the taste of how bad their coffee is. I want people in Easton to have a cup of coffee and realise that it can be really, really good, and treat it as a luxury item, which is what it used to be and what is it in most of the world still treats it as. The appeal, hopefully, for Lafayette students is somewhere they can hang out, use a bit of Wi-Fi, get some study done, have a healthy lunch. It's not too far away from the college. We made a conscious decision to be over here because it's in between College Hill, Forks, downtown Easton. It's not as hard to get to for college students as well, so it's accessible and it's hopefully comfortable. There's a disadvantage in being removed from downtown and the rest of restaurants and where the bulk of people might be. But the advantage is that it's a destination that there's nowhere else for them to really go at the moment in this space. So they can, once they're here, they're here. They've got to sit down and enjoy some lunch or have a coffee or a pot of tea. So it works both ways. But we would be nuts not to be friends with all the restaurateurs in town. So I know quite a few of them by name, and we patronise their restaurants. I think that hospitality in restaurants is very much a community kind of thing, that people work together because they'll need some help at one day and we can send someone over and vice versa. And that's the way hospitality works in most cities that I've lived in. So I would treat it with the same attitude here.
Okay. I think a lot of people like the Easton Public Market. It's a place where a lot of my regulars are happy to be. They can bring their kids. They feel like they have a community. I think it's good that we have access for like fresh produce downtown. Before there wasn't really a place in walking distance of where I lived where you could get a lot of different fresh produce. There are some, but not a lot. I think also though I'd like to see more development in Easton of lower price range places. I think the Easton Public Market is a little unaffordable for a lot of people who live in Easton. So I think we need to keep that kind of thing in mind, that we don't like gentrify too far in Easton to like be pushing some people out of downtown. So yeah.
I think it's a great thing. It brings older people and younger people together. I think we get a really diverse crowd, which is cool. I think we offer a really wide variety on the menu of things. I like that we have dessert, and that I honestly didn't know that crepes could be like a sandwich until I worked here, so I think that's really cool. The A-bomb. Graham crackers, brown sugar, strawberries, dark chocolate, creme anglaise, and cream cheese. That's my favorite on the menu.